and stuff. You see it if you go canoe and or kayaking off of Robinson's Preserve. And all that, see that water. It's on the bay side more.
Yeah, it was on the side.
Jim's in the house. Ready? All right. How about everybody else? Y'all ready? Welcome to the June 5th Manatee County Tourist Development Council meeting. We will start our meeting by honoring God and then also honoring our country. We have with us today Pastor Dirk Rogers from Roser Church. We'll be giving our invocation, our opening prayer. Stand if you're able, and that'll be followed by the pledge.
Will you join me in prayer? Father God, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come together and resolve your ways and discuss your way forward. And we first pray for every participant here because we know in addition to their public duties, they have private lives, struggles with family and with health and with finance and business and all the rest. And so, Father, we pray your grace for each person individually and also collectively, Father. We thank you that you made us in your image to discuss together, to reflect together, to listen to one another, and resolve together to move forward together. And so, Father, we ask today in our conversations that your Spirit would work to express the highest and best of human dignity that you've given to us. And we look forward to the results you will produce through that reflection. In the name of Christ Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. So we will start with introductions. We have Mr. Falcione, and also if you want to speak to the people that are tuning in via phone, that might be a good idea as well.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Elliot Falcione, Tourism Director, Manatee County. Mayor Braun, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Gene Brown, City of Bradenton, Mayor.
David Wick, I'm a board member.
All right. I'm James Satcher, Manatee County Commissioner. Go ahead.
Eric Cairns, Anna Maria Island, Cedar Cove Resort.
Jitin Patel, Holiday Inn Sarasota Bradenton Airport.
Ed Childs, Child's Hospitality in Waterland.
Mr. Chair, we have Norma Kennedy on the call as well. Norma, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, this is Norma Kennedy, and I'm an interested resident.
Thank you.
She's also on the board, correct?
Yes.
All right. She's on the board. Although we're glad she's interested as well. Wonderful. All right. First, number one on our agenda, we've got the meeting minutes. I believe we need a motion to accept those. Got a motion to approve.
Second.
Then I have a second. I need to take public comment on that. All right. We're good without any board comment. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. Any opposed?
Mayor Braun and Norma, aye as well.
All right. So without objection, we're approving the meeting minutes from April 24th. I'm going to try to go against my habit, and we'll try to get the public comment for number 2, although knowing me, I might open it up again. But so at this time, if you would like to address the TDC, you'll have 3 minutes. You can come to the podium, state your name from your county of residence, and whatever business you have. That if you see something on, there's no guarantee that anything else on the agenda is going to be opened up separately to comment. So now's the time if you have anything you'd like to say.
Hi, good morning. My name is Deborah Williams. I'm a Manatee County resident. I'm also Commissioner from Longboat Key District 4. And I had a question from one of our residents regarding the new Coquina pathway and sidewalks that are being put in. There's a significant gap between the southern end of the pathway and then connecting with the bridge going over into Longboat Key. And so the question is this on the table to be completed to make that full connection for pedestrians and people who would like to walk over the bridge into Longboat, or vice versa?
right. Thank you. We'll address it at the end of comment if we have an answer. I don't know that we will, but we'll find one for you later.
Hi.
Yes.
John Chappie, Bradenton Beach Mayor. I just want to take the opportunity to welcome you here today to Tourist Development Council. It is so important that we communicate and that we work together on so many great issues. Our community of Anna Maria Island is a complex community, and it's a fun community. And a lot of things we do have that we've been thankful for the Tourist Development Council and how they support us, how they have in the past, and hopefully continue that in the future. So again, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Chappie. Anyone else? All right, wonderful. Mr. Falcione, I don't know the exact how far that walkway is set to go, and I don't know how much of the land on the way to that bridge we own versus someone else. Do you offhand? If not, we'll just have to get that information to her.
Yeah, it's great seeing you. I know the Board of County Commissioners in the town of Longboat Key had to shift gears on their joint meeting, I think it was last week. What we will do is convey your message to Chad Butso and his Department of Public Works, who oversees that project, and get back to you on what they're able to do that addresses your questions. The role of this TDC is to recommend tourism tax equity for that path initiative, including the parking lot. That's within our bandwidth. Over and above that, it's outside of our job description. So, but I definitely will take that message. We all know here that enhancement of multimodal transportation from this north end of the island through Longboat Key is paramount to our future. So I really appreciate you asking the question, and I will make sure that Chad or his team follows up with you this week.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I can just speak generally that I know as far as the commission, the county commission, I know that they're starting sometime around 2 years ago. There was just kind of a commitment to work together as much as possible, address any concerns. So we'll take a good look at it and see what can be done, or it could already be in the scope. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. So, and if you want to follow up with my aide or with Elliot, anyway, send us an email so we can be sure to get back with you. All right. Thank you so much. All right. And thank you for the welcome, Mayor Chappie. We appreciate it. So we got a state of tourism update from Ann Wittine, Director of Quantitative Research Data Services. All right, give us good news.
Good morning. My name is Ann Wittine. I'm with Research Data. Okay, so I have some very hot off the press April numbers for you. And I know these are not in your packet. We were literally finishing this data up over the weekend. And I know Elliot's team, Leanne, will send you out hard copies so that you can see it as well. So we did see a slight decrease in visitation this April compared to last April. A big part of this is because last year, Easter fell on April 17th. This year, Easter fell on April 9th. This is a normal thing. It's nice to talk about normal things, but when we see an early Easter, we find that the season compresses. So we did see a slight decrease in visitation over last year, but last year we were seeing that extreme peak of pent-up demand as well. So it's important to note that 97,800 visitors, overnight commercial lodging visitors that we saw in April is a 53% increase over where we were in 2019. In 2019, we were at 63,900. In terms of economic impact, economic impact is up. So the visitors that we're seeing coming are spending more, staying longer. And so we had a 3.4% increase in economic impact, even with that slight rollback in visitors. And that's a 77.7% increase over where we were in April of 2019. So in terms of occupancy, we had a slight decrease in occupancy. We had a significant increase in ADR, up 7.9%, and that's a 32.1% increase over 2019. We are hearing from some properties that May was a little bit soft, although Memorial Day weekend was extremely strong. But that June and July are looking very good and reservations are coming in quickly. A few properties are telling us that they are starting to have to make some rate concessions in order to make occupancy, but that is not what we're hearing universally. And so in terms of RevPAR for April was $209.37 per room, which is the first time in April breaking $200, up 4.8% over 2022 and up nearly 40% over 2019. Over the last few months, we have seen a slight decrease in the total number of transient lodging units, and that continued into April. But again, we're still up 8.8% over, and this is licensed transient lodging units according to the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, still up 8.8% over 2019 numbers. So in terms of where visitors are coming from, as we have been seeing, we have a slight rollback in the number of people coming out of Florida, and this is expected. The important thing to note is that we are still up 50% over where we were in 2019. So all of that marketing to the nearby markets has had an amazing ripple effect with those visitors continuing to come back. Elliot always says that if we can get them here, they will return. And we've seen that in the Florida visitation, even as things opened up and they could start going back to places that they went more normally. So we see significant growth out of Northeast and Midwest, particularly the Midwest, and that's based on direct flights that have come into the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. We still see that we have some room for recovery in the European market. I know it looks a little unusual that Canada and Europe are down slightly over April of 2022, but in April of 2022, we had all those visitors who were not able to visit because of lockdown. So we had a surge of visitation, and now we're seeing a little bit of normalization. So our Canadian visitor number is back to 2019 normal, but the European visitor is not back yet. The huge growth here is in opportunity markets, and again, that's new direct flights out of markets we never had before. That's sort of driving that increase. So there is that longer length of stay that I mentioned earlier that's driving the bigger economic impact. I know that doesn't look like a big number, but when you multiply that over 97,000 people, it is significant. In terms of fiscal year to date, so October through April, visitors are up by there we go. Visitors are up by 3.6%, and economic impact is up by 9% over last fiscal year to date. And those are respectively a 42.2% and a 62% increase over 2019. So the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport is seeing in April, and you can see this line is steadily above anything that we've seen before and is back to kind of mirroring a normal pattern. April was up by 17% over 22 and was up by 146% over 2019. On a year-to-date basis, the airport is up by 18.1% in terms of passenger traffic. That's not fiscal year, that's calendar year to date. And compared to the other airports, the other major airports that our visitors fly through, nobody else is seeing that kind of growth over 2019 numbers. In fact, Fort Lauderdale and, of course, Southwest Florida are still down over 2019, and TSA system-wide is still down slightly 0.3% over 2019, even though we're still seeing year-over-year growth. And we showed the slide. You guys have seen it, but this is updated through June 1st. June 1st is the last piece of data. This is rolling 7-day average, total number of people going through TSA security points and how that has recovered.
What?
This is our average for 2019. The gray line on the top is the average for, the gray line on the top is the average for 2019. The red line is the average for 2020. The wiggly gray line is 2019 mirrored over so that we can see how we've made it back to where we were in 2019. But as I was putting this together, I was thinking that I really need to say to you that just because we've gotten back to those 2019 numbers doesn't mean that we're recovered, because that's not where we should have been. If we'd had normal growth over the last 4 years, we would, we're still probably in the neighborhood of 12% down over where we would have been had things continued normally and we hadn't seen the COVID bump that we saw in terms of aircraft.
And can you change your microphone a little
Sorry.
bit? Maybe that'll definitely work. Yep.
So in terms of what we're hearing from lodging properties, when they say season is slowing down, what that means is we were talking to them in May to collect their April data. So that is a normal response. And seeing fewer than average for leisure, I think, is also a normal thing, because what that means is they're seeing more group, more sports, and those are good things. So most properties are telling us ADR is still up, but a few are saying that they are having, as I mentioned earlier, to make rate concessions, and this mirrors what I was saying earlier, that it's looking like June and July are going to be very, very strong, as was Memorial Day. So that's a very quick recap. And as I said, Elliot's team will send out the data so that you can see it as well. So do you have any questions?
Who's got some questions? Ed, you look like you've got a question. Okay. So the month of, let me see if I can get back to the numbers that I'm curious about. You said the month of April was a little bit down, and then you said it compressed the season with Easter coming early in the month. I'd just be curious where March was, because basically we probably need to average the two together to get the real picture.
And
that's what I'm thinking.
March was about at par, but fiscal year to date, we are up by, let me give you the exact number. Fiscal year to date, we are up by, where is it? There it is, by 3.6%. So October through April, altogether, we're still up by 3.6% in terms of visitors. But the more important number is we're up by 9% in terms of economic impact. because it's never just a matter of bringing more people in. That creates issues. We want to bring people in who are going to have the most positive economic impact for the county. So that 9% up number is more important.
Gotcha. Okay, so our economic impact is up.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I'll piggyback off that a little bit. We're coming out of extreme pent-up domestic demand over the past couple years. So those record-breaking years, I call it an anomaly. We were so far ahead of the state projections. To give you an example, we weren't pegged to hit 30 million in tourism tax revenues probably for 2-3 more years from where we sit today. So that extreme domestic pent-up demand has, brought that projection to probably we'll hit that by the end of this calendar year. So things are starting to level off a little bit. That demographic in the domestic U.S. that were coming to Florida because they weren't inclined to go over to Europe are now going to Europe. Okay, the blessing that this destination has that a lot of destinations don't is now that UK, Central European market starting to turn on, that'll offset that extreme pent-up demand fall off a little bit. So it's just a lot of variables there. What I like about the situation we're in now, I almost smile a little bit. I'm the weird tourism director that's okay with this, a little bit of tail off. It's the less is more theory. Continue to bring in a high-end demographic that can afford the attributes that this community has to offer in a moderate manner, leaves a lot of money, but less people. The average length of stay, always focus on that 5.2, 5.4. The state average is 4.2. So we're higher. That attributes to a lot of things to do, family, couples destination where they're going to stay longer instead of having our short-term rentals turn over those accommodations faster like some other destinations. So I truly believe we're in a really good situation. Flat the rest of this calendar year is a good thing. If we're up 2-3%, that is really, really good. We're not going to see, I don't expect to see 8-9% increase in growth for the rest of the calendar year. We're good with never seeing that again. I'm being really candid right now. That 2-3-4% growth is really, really a good thing. You're even going to see the airport get a little bit on the flat side for a lot of different variables. A lot of airlines are ordering jets that they're waiting for Boeing and Airbus to deliver, and then they're aggressively training pilots and crews. We're expecting to see more flights come in probably about a good year from now. So we're in a good situation, but flat or 2-3% up is an okay thing. I would go as far as a good thing. Sorry, it was a long-winded response, but my blood gets flowing about data.
I also want to say that it's hard to see big increased numbers in March and April because we're so close to being at capacity that there's not a lot of room for growth. Properties are very, very full. So we see that growth more in other times. We're hearing very good things about this summer.
Okay. And I think, on the county commission side, we see ahead of time more capacity coming on, it seems like, because we're getting asked to approve a lot of projects that I think are going to change them. So, all right, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
and thank you for the update. It's interesting to see and to hear. We got, it's basically freedom tourism that was driving a huge uptick, people wanting to get away from oppressive governments, local governments, and national governments, and that ended up being a good thing for us, and now it's starting to level out, but it looks like we still got a plan moving forward. Good to hear. We'll move on to number 4 on our agenda. That's the Realize Bradenton update. I've got Karen Corbin. She's the executive director. And I believe for the record, we go ahead and still introduce yourself, even though I said your name.
Sure. My name is Karen Corbin. I'm the executive director for Realize Bradenton. I want to thank Elliot and all the members today for giving us the opportunity to share with you all things Realize Bradenton. 4 years ago, my husband was offered a job at Home Shopping Network in St. Pete. And we made the decision to move from Connecticut to Florida. At that time, we knew we didn't want to live right down into St. Pete, so we had to look around. We had many choices of where we would like to make our home and set up roots. However, in the past, we had been here in Manatee County. We had been to your beaches, we had friends, we loved the small towns, and we kind of looked at each other and said, why are we doing this? We love Manatee County. That's where we're going to go. And I attribute the feel that people get when they come to Manatee County to all the work that you all do and the work that Realize Bradenton does. I started with Realize Bradenton in the fall of 2019 and was named Executive Director this past November. Today, I would like to share with you a brief look back at the history, share a bit of our current projects, talk a bit about our funding model, then finish up with a look ahead. For those of you that may not know, the City of Bradenton commissioned a master plan for the downtown CRA in 2007. That work resulted in the Downtown by Design that you see on the screen there and is still used today. At that time, the Bradenton Cultural Alliance and the Knight Foundation recommended merging downtown revitalization and cultural development under one umbrella. That umbrella became Realize Bradenton. Over 1,000 leaders in business, arts, education, tourism, and government came together to create the Realize Bradenton Cultural Master Plan. The 6 strategies outlined in that plan drive our work today. Downtown cultural vitality, marketing access and collaboration, support for individual artists and the Village of the Arts, art education and youth, public art, and capacity building. Bringing people together is the only way to build and sustain a healthy community, and that is what we do. How do we do that? An example. Music in the Park. Music in the Park brings the whole community together to share in great music and great surroundings. I'm sure you all remember Art Slam. Art Slam brought students, teachers, families together to showcase their interests and their talents. Pop-ups for a Purpose brought neighbors together for shared experiences. For the past 13 years, we have created many opportunities and managed a variety of projects that you can see on the screen in support of the 6 strategies outlined in the Cultural Master Plan. No doubt in my mind that you have all experienced at least one of these events and projects. My guess is most of you have shared more. Our work also supports tourism. If you are anything like me, when I travel, I want to find the local sights and sounds of the community I visit. There is no better place to experience that local flavor than Bradenton Public Market. Our market is located on Old Main Street every Saturday, October through May. Our vendors and attendance have increased over 50% this past season. We have over 50 vendors on a waiting list waiting to get into our market. All I need is more real estate. We have worked hard to make this event a must-see. We are attracting people from all over Anna Maria, St. Pete, Tampa, and residents are making our market a must-see when family and friends are visiting from out of town. 2023 will be the 12th year of the Bradenton Blues Festival. This event has been at capacity for many years. 38% of attendees are from outside of the county, many from outside the state, and we actually get a few internationally. This event has brought people into Manatee County year after year, staying at your hotels, eating at our restaurants, and shopping at our stores. Residents and visitors love to bring their blankets down on Friday nights to enjoy our free concerts on the Riverwalk in March and April. We have noticed an increase in visitors staying on Anna Maria Island, attending the concerts and asking for more opportunities for this type of an activity. When the ferry launches, I'm sure this event is going to be attracting a whole lot more people. How is RB funded? Donations, sponsorships, grants, events, and government funding. These revenue streams are important, but they are variable, and they are forever changing. Looking to the future, we have to seek more consistent and sustainable funding opportunities. We are currently looking back with a critical eye on all that we have accomplished over the past 13 years. We are focusing on how we can support our partners to do what they do best, identify opportunities to broaden the reach of our work beyond downtown, and take steps towards more secure financial sustainability. We're exploring opportunities, serving a larger audience, maybe moving beyond the city core, activating more public spaces, such as we do with the public market, which activates Old Main Street and provides additional activities for tourists. Accommodate community needs. We identified a need for small business. We created an entrepreneurial training program to help fill our empty storefronts and put feet on the streets. Strengthening collaborations. In order to expand our initiatives, growing and strengthening partnerships will be imperative. Increase collective impact. Through our shared vision, we want a community that people will return to again and again. We see the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau and Manatee County as a primary partners, and we look forward to discussions about deeper and more meaningful collaborations and partnerships. Thank you again for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Eric.
Would you say that your concerts that you put on, would you say the majority are residents? Is there a percentage of tourists that come and see these? Have you ever thought about that?
We have, and I can't say that we walk around as a staff and we talk to a lot of people. I would honestly say that the majority was probably residents, but this year we saw a real uptick in people from Anna Maria coming out to, you're talking about the Music in the Park, the 7 concerts we put into, We saw a real uptick in Anna Marie visitors coming out. We talked to one couple, for instance, that was from Canada, and they're like, you need to do this more often. You need to have it earlier in the year, and we're full. We're at capacity at where we are, so that ferry is going to be something we're going to have to take a real good look at, because I believe people will come to that.
So my question from here would go to Elliot, and that would be, since tourism perhaps may be involved to a certain percentage, not knowing what at this time, is there any way we could assist in some way?
Yes. The one thing that actually Ann brings to the table as well is doing interceptors around these events. With the water taxi getting ready to come online, Ann had a team out here Memorial Day weekend. She'll have a team out here 4th of July and then Labor Day as well, to figure out who's out on the island, aside from overnight visitors, but to also ask questions, get feedback about the future water taxi. We could shift that. Sometimes we shift that, like for the regatta. We'll gain information from the attendees of that. So with Karen, we'll hack away at that. It's just prioritizing where we need to get feedback sooner than later. The neat thing about Karen is, Johnette Isham was was the first executive director of Realize Bradenton, and we're so happy that she was able to retire. But anytime you have an executive level position turnover, you always get a little, who's going to replace, going to be just as good, if not better. And Karen, a pro's pro, communicates really, really well. So we've already met a couple times. We'll continue to meet and just build that partnership. The next agenda item will relate to Realize Bradenton, because we keep talking about it. Anna Maria Island, Lombo Key. I believe in my heart the number one priority is to work with the 4 cities, town, and work to enhance multimodal transportation up and down. The future of tourism is the urban core redevelopment and what's going on out east. To me, it's as simple as that. And Karen is right in ground zero in regards to how we partner with her in the urban core.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? All right.
Well, I thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you more often.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here, Karen. Thank you for the presentation.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to go to the lectern, if that's okay.
All right. Mr. Falchon is moving to the lectern. If we could get a motion tractor.
Yes, I have an ankle monitor for a lot of different reasons.
Oh, Lord.
It's great to see everybody.
That was just a joke. All right, we'll go to number 5. That is City Park Field. Take it away.
Thanks, Chris. Chris knows that I'm technologically incompetent. I'll start off. We've been working with the city of Bradenton now probably about the past year, previous county administrator as well. And we're ready to bring this initiative to the Tourist Development Council. Thank you so much, Chris. Just hit an arrow. Okay, great. We all know what the Pittsburgh Pirates, Lecom Park, formerly known as McKechnie Field, bring to not only Manatee County, but the urban core. And that 6 weeks of spring training equals about 40 million, give or take, a year to Manatee County. Does not include what the Marauders bring to our community. And the Pirates are different than probably any other spring training organization in Florida, because anytime you have a player in any level of the baseball, whether it's Major League, AAA, all the way down, if they get hurt, they're coming right to Bradenton to rehabilitate, and then they actually play a few Marauders games at the same time. So it's how do you expand with that asset in the urban core, because you're limited with Lecom Park, and then they have the second field and right field. So we got with the city and we said, look, you have the Public Works building, you have your Public Works yard. We've all talked about, what's the fast lane to get into urban core redevelopment, and we came up with. The city has offered to eventually tear down the Public Works building. It's an old brick building. They're in the first level. The second floor is basically storage. It's out of left field. And what it does is it clears the space for a third full baseball field. And I just want to get you to that part right there. So you can see to the right of this screen is Lecom Park. To the top part is the field that already exists. And then to the bottom, kind of left, we want to call City Park. Now, I learned a little history in the past month. McKechnie Field was called City Park 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then it evolved to McKechnie Field. Bill McKechnie used to live on Anna Maria Island, an icon. And then, of course, the Pirates sold those rights to Lecom. Known now as Lecom Park. So with this partnership between us and the city of Bradenton, and that's what it is in a nutshell, is it adds that third full baseball field that'll be lit, as well as the field on the top there. That'll have lights as well. They'll both have dugouts. You can see the bottom part of the screen, they'll add back in parking. And then that top left corner is really where the city has they house their garbage trucks. They're looking at that area to serve the youth, serve the community a lot better. So that'll come in behind it. But to be able to have 3 fields in the urban core will bring, I'm a conservative, easily $10 to $12 million to the urban core a year. Now, Ann Wittine and her staff put a price tag of about 15 to 16, but I like to underpromise and overdeliver. And when you take what the TDC and the Board of County Commissioners just approved at the convention center, that's going to bring in about 25 million annually, and then you add this, throw in another 10, 12 million, you're looking at 35, 36, 37 million a year that is pumping into the urban core. And then those first-time visitors, once we expose them to all the attributes, we know in our heart about 74% of the time a sports or a corporate visitor will return again for a vacation. So here's the deal in a nutshell. The city of Bradenton has provided dollars annually to help maintain Lecom Park, help maintain Pirate City. The Pittsburgh Pirates, through the leadership of the owner, Bob Nutting, has bought a lot of land around Lecom Park that really has enhanced parking, much needed parking around the complex. So they have been good stewards in our community. Of course, they just celebrated their 54th year in Bradenton, and they're going to be with us. So they're going to outlive us in Bradenton as well. So what we've negotiated with the city of Bradenton to make this happen is that third field with a little bit of enhancement to the field at the top there, mainly adding dugouts, is a $5 million project. Because of the convention center enhancement, we really didn't want to do a contract with the city for $5 million in 1 year. So the city has agreed to spread that out over 3 years. So you're looking at $1.66 million a year in change over a 3-year period. This field, our objective is mid to late 24 to have this done. We'll see how construction goes. There's a lot of business, but I know the city of Bradenton is really aggressive in trying to get these assets built. And it'll give our sports commission an opportunity to go after those state, regional, and national baseball tournaments. The Pirates would manage this third field. It just optimizes the whole operation. When they cut the grass at the other two, they'll cut the grass at this. And then we're going to work on an agreement to make sure that we, as the Tourism Bureau, our sports commission, we don't pay rent for this complex, but we'll pay to open the park. Janitors and ushers to be able to open the doors, close the doors. So I'm real excited about it. I call it the bookends in the urban core from Palmetto to just south of Lecom Park. That is our future, and those are two main seeds, assets that'll help aggressively bring other types of retail and businesses to that urban core. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm open to any questions or asking for a recommendation.
Thank you, sir. We'll do questions first before any recommendations. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Patel, you're first.
My mic doesn't work, so I just talk louder. This sounds like an absolute no-brainer. I mean, the amount of revenue that this is going to draw in, the advantage to the city, the advantage to Lecom. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic idea.
Eric, one thing I was remiss, normally the first 2.5 weeks of spring training, the major league team is over Pirate City. And you'll get fans go over to there. With this third field, me knowing enough about baseball to be dangerous, I asked the Pirates, I said, with this third field, would this bring your major league team to that part of town 6 weeks, the full 6 weeks? And they said yes. So you're going to have a shift of fans come to that area that'll feed the retail, feed Village of the Arts, Field Future restaurants. It's really, really paramount. The city manager here, Rob Perry, who I love dearly, he just we're aligned on any kind of business initiative. They want to have a multimodal system going up and down the urban core, so people can actually park in Bradenton, ride down through a trolley of some sort or a bus to the entertainment, the games, and then go back where they're sleeping in the cluster of hotels. So a lot of future opportunities. I keep calling them seeds. Convention center's a seed. This would be a seed. Out of Premier Sports Campus, we're working on Parish where they're trying to get a sense of community, but we need assets out there that'll serve all these out-of-town visitors, these special events. When they're here, they need things to do. That's where the support of the Florida Railroad Museum will be huge in the future.
Mm-hmm. We have many people that come just come to see the Pirates, plain and simple.
Yes, sir.
My question is about comparing with the Premier Sports Complex, how it's going to compete or complement each other with the sports business.
Actually, it's two totally separate target markets. The Premier Sports Campus that we oversee will continue to go after soccer, lacrosse, flag football, frisbee, on and on and on. This asset will mainly be baseball It may be a little bit of softball as well. You know, we're talking to the Pirates about doing some signature concerts as well, but it's two different targets. Now, with the evolution of future Premier Park, we don't oversee that, but I know the county commissioners are looking to consider adding more full baseball fields in Manatee County. And if that happens, then we'll be able to go a little bit beyond the smaller NCAA, the JUCO tournaments, etc. When we all hosted the U18 World Baseball Championships, that was regional. And regional partnership is really, really important. But if we had this third field, we probably could have hosted it in Manatee County only.
And also the partnership with Pirate City on these fields?
Yeah, you have the fields out there. Thank you for bringing that up, because you have Pirate City baseball fields that are available as well. Quite candidly, they're used an awful lot. You know, so let's manage expectations here. You'll have Korean teams come in from time to time. You'll have instructional league. So that operation over at Pirate City is a 12-month-a-year, pretty much 7-day-a-week operation. The city is looking at how they enhance that corridor of the county. But where I'm excited as a tourism director working with a TDC that understands the redevelopment philosophies, these seeds, to tell you what, we're getting a lot done as a TDC and the Board of County Commissioners than in my whole career here. And what the Board of County Commissioners have invested in road infrastructure was record-breaking. So the roads are going in with all these seeds. I'm really thrilled to see where we're at 3 to 5 years from now.
What about the budget planning for this capital investment?
Yes, the CFO of Manatee County, Sheila McCain, has looked at all of their requests. It fits within the budget. We still have a growth trajectory on the tourism tax revenues. They're very comfortable. They're more comfortable that we're spreading it out over 3 years. It doesn't say that we can't pay it off in advance of that, but we're really comfortable. What we will do is behind this with the recommendation is Rob Perry and I will work on a reimbursement agreement that as they pay for construction, they'll have a cap of $1.6 million and change. We'll reimburse them over a 3-year period. Same deal we did with the Bishop Museum. Same deal we did with the theater. Same deal we did with the Florida Railroad Museum. It's working really, really well. We just did it with the Anna Maria Island Pier, the city pier. And those projects are concluded. So you get some assets built, you get them done, and you go find some more business to partner with.
Understood. That's all.
Mr. Chas.
Yeah, I guess I've got an interesting perspective, having been the longest-serving member of this board. Larry White would love this.
Yes.
I remember when we started talking about really investing in and promoting sports here. We always had the Pirates, but Larry brought Joe Pickett on, and it started as a kind of a one-man band, bringing small groups in small local tournaments, going after and grasping it. And a real strong community is built on diversity, and it's a strong local economy is built on that kind of diversity. And if you look at the crown jewels that we have in this community, it's really pretty phenomenal. When you look at Feld and you look at rowing, and sports is such a big part of this now. If we look at what we've done for the urban core, Karen's report here today, the investments in downtown Bradenton and Riverwalk and regattas and music festivals. And then we see the kind of growth that is coming to Bradenton now. I know we've got the mayor on the call, $1 billion worth of investment coming into Bradenton. The folks that are looking at St. Pete and have done so much development now, seeing that Bradenton is really the next best place. And I love the way that this is bringing business to that urban core and really supporting the work that's been done there. So I'd be honored to make the motion for approval for this.
Do we have any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just comments. While we are doing this, it's an amazing thing. We want to make sure, the Pirate City, McKinney Fields, or the Lecom Fields now, GT Bray are all in tandem to organize future events, tournaments, and they can all cooperate with each other because you lack that in past. We want to make sure something is inked on that. The entryways and stuff, should be improved at the same time when you're making this such a nice improvement. That will help, bringing what we want here. So those are just a few comments I would like to add.
Agree. Thank you, Raul.
Anyone else? And then what about on the phone? Do we, does the mayor or...
We have Mayor Brown
Norma
on
have
the
anything to
phone,
say?
or Norma Kennedy. Mayor Brown, do you want to say hello?
Hello, yes, thanks, Elliot, and thanks for all the great comments. And I just know that what we're going to do is grow our whole county. And I think this is, as we know, the urban core is a big part of it, but it does play into the convention center, the islands, the East County, because we need to have things to do in all four corners. And I think this really brings that to that next level and allows us to, in the city, to really drive our urban core where we want to be. So thanks for all the great comments, and look forward to going forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. And Mr. Chair, when we're ready for a true vote, we can ask them individually to vote yea or nay, if that's okay with you.
Did Norma have any comments, or is she still on the line?
Norma, my friend, do you have any comments?
I am just excited for what is going to take place in the next few years.
Thank you.
And my vote would be yes.
Thank you.
We'll go back to that. Did you need to say something, Rob?
I want to thank Elliot for working with us so closely at the city, and of course the boards for your consideration. It's important to recognize that there are other participants in this too. I think sometimes the best partnership is a multi-layered partnership. So we were funded by the state legislature for $1 million in planning money for this project as well. So thanks to the state. We also have a request in for Representative Buchanan's office for up to $2 million in participation, and received pretty good response thus far on that. We're contacting with the school district as well. Some of the things I heard up here is exactly what this project is about. So you guys caught on really quick. It has the potential to spread out to many other participants, being IMG, GT Bray, that could add capacity for larger scale type tournaments. We don't think it's competitive with other types of things we're doing. It is an enhancement to the urban core, not just an enhancement to sports tourism, which is a significant economic driver, but an enhancement to the surrounding areas of underserved communities as well. And that's the interest basically of the school district about putting facilities, multi-use facilities, on adjunct parts of this complex, which the city owns. It's about I think 12 acres that the city owns, irrespective of the two fields being Lecom and the existing practice field on the right field behind it. And so you are going to hopefully be able to serve underserved kids in that community with after-school programs, with career counseling, maybe the Boys and Girls Club, police athletic leagues, programs like that, because people that are familiar with that area know that we'd rather have our youth basically engaged in good, productive activities than the Knife and Gun Club of Greater Bradenton. That's not a good thing. And there's some challenges in the surrounding areas. Of course, sports tourism as the economic driver, but also Village of the Arts, the connectivity to the Village of the Arts area itself that we've been continuously struggling with over the years, and ultimately the connectivity to downtown to bring more urbanization, more activities. Sure, it's a baseball complex as it is rendered today before you, but it's also streetscapes and development. The territorial boundaries go down 9th Street to about 26th. This particular corridor is between 13th Avenue and 17th, and we think that it hasn't been touched in a long time. We think that it has great potential, that it complements a lot of the things that the county and the TDC are doing, and we think with a multifaceted approach of partners, we can really get this thing out to provide a lot of needs. And again, I want to thank Elliot and his folks and you for your consideration.
All right. Thank you, Rob. What, I don't know if Elliot or Rob, probably both of you know the answer to this. What's our, I'll have a couple of questions and then I'll have something to say before we take our vote. What's the financial commitment? He mentioned the commitment as far as the state, and then we're hoping for commitment from the feds. Is there financial commitment from the city of Bradenton as well?
Yeah, the city of Bradenton owns the land right now, a large swatch of it, basically from 13th to 17th. There's one small part. We're also looking at acquisition of surrounding property because parking is a major concern. Additionally, on that 12 acres that I referred to as public works land, we have the administrative facility on 9th, the old Crowley building, old armory, the brick armory that's right on 9th. Mr. Falcione talked about the second floor being unusable. We plan on vacating that building and probably relocating public works to make the whole block redevelopable. As well as potentially across 9th Street too. We have some property that we already have acquired. The city's commitment basically is the park itself is probably $5 million, but the surrounding streetscape is probably on the order of $5 to $6 million. And we're processing through that as well as some of those other movements we talked about. When we talk about the public works yard, half of that is enterprise, and so you do have our water utility there that is rate-based enterprise and the like, and also our solid waste behind it. And I don't want to get too far out in front of my skis, but we're looking at relocation in surrounding areas and really trying to do more development to the total surrounds of those areas.
Okay. And then how much skin in the game do the Pirates have at this point? I mean, not counting past, but as far as for this project, are they putting forward any money on it or not?
Well, one of the things that we wanted to assure was that it was a local government type project, and the Pirates basically would be in a position to probably operate and maintain the facility. Of course, they're experts on baseball. We also want to enhance and offer those travel teams that would be coming for these tournaments play where the pros play. Lecom, the third oldest park in the country and the like. As it relates specifically to the facility, we have a lease with the Pirates right now for Lecom, but the facility itself that we're contemplating being more the additional fields, the tenant parking areas and the like, we basically see them as an operational partner.
All right.
And there's a whole host of other funds that have been committed already, and take it from there.
It's really important. If you haven't met Bob Nutting, the principal owner of the Pirates, he's a really humble guy. He has spent more money in this community than I know in my heart any other Major League Baseball owner would have done in Florida. He's bought at least 3 different assets around Lecom Park because we desperately needed parking. It's really hard to come to the TDC and say, hey, buy this rundown building or this business so we can tear it down and put parking. It just doesn't make sense. So the Pirates have stepped up to do that. When they bought the Old Boys and Girls Club to create necessary parking, they have provided the Boys and Girls Club funding on a very quiet manner for many, many years. And they will continue to put funding into local organizations around Lecom Park as well. And then, of course, they built the clubhouse at Lecom. For those, I think some of you have been in, it is a state-of-the-art clubhouse. They didn't even come asking for money, because if you go back in time, when Ed Hunsiker was county administrator, this was right around, I forget what year it was, but the Pirates came to us with a request for twice as the amount. It was almost $16 million, and the TDC and the county settled on 8. And they didn't push back at all. We made it work, and the Pirates came back and put money into the complex on their own. So you know what? If there was a concern about an imbalance on the 3-legged stool, I probably wouldn't say anything. I would do it one-on-one. But I trust, obviously, Mayor Brown and Rob Perry in the city. I trust the Pittsburgh Pirates. And this is, I'm really, really excited to move this forward and keep hacking away at it, because we've all earned each other's respect, where we're not afraid to be bold and challenge each other for the greater good.
Thank you, Elliot. Anyone else have any other questions? So before this vote, I just want to say a couple of things. In my mind, there's nothing as American as baseball, right? I mean, that is apple pie, baseball, maybe NASCAR. Excuse me. But baseball is near and dear to my heart and to the soul of Americana. I'll be honest, I have some concerns that are larger than maybe what we're dealing with here today, but I don't feel all that great moving forward without at least mentioning them. Baseball itself, in my mind, has made some poor decisions in the last couple of years. Atlanta had an all-star game scheduled, and the state of Georgia decided to pass a law that was more thorough in how it reviewed people when they came to vote. And Major League Baseball forced them to move that all-star game. Think of all the tourist businesses that were investing and had made plans, the business people that we're being asked to support. Those that were in Atlanta had made plans and lost millions of dollars over Major League Baseball playing politics and getting completely out of their lane. But they take the checks from the government. But when it comes down to, oh, here's a chance for me to look good on CNN, on MSNBC, I can look like I care and I can score some points, some cheap, woke points. They took that chance. And that was a while back, so has that kind of thing happened lately? Sure. Sad to say, I mean, Anthony Bass, a pitcher from the Blue Jays, came out and said, I support a particular boycott. I mean, if you look at the details of the boycott, it is just not hateful in nature how it got started. Nothing should have been controversial about it. In fact, the controversy should be on the other side. If you're making girls' swimsuits, put them in front of your store, and you're saying, this is great so you can tuck away your anatomy for children, if you're doing it for adults, different story. But if you're doing it for children, that's where the controversy is. And he came out and said, I support this boycott. And Major League Baseball came down like a hammer on him and made him come out and make a statement that he was wrong and he changed his mind. And here his livelihood is on the line and the paycheck that he brings home to his family and children if he has them. It's wrong, and it's a mistake business-wise, because eventually, as much as we all love baseball, if they decide to continue down that road and they take sides on issues that no one is electing them to speak on, they will end up turning a lot of fans away. And some of those fans sit in positions where they can make some decisions. And so they'll lose some decisions. And I know that baseball is a huge business, big time money. And so, our vote here today, I don't know if anyone will ever hear of it one way or the other. But I can just speak for me. Right now, I'm not comfortable or excited about giving them millions of dollars, at least with my vote, if they're going to continue down this path. If they're going to change direction or stay out of it, then I'm fine. Then I look at it as a business decision. But if you're coming after citizens and you're coming after people and you're only doing it on one side, I mean, there's other things that are going on right now. They are involved in politics. They are involved in social speech and conversations, but only on one side so far from anything I can find.
Mr. Chairman?
And I think I've got the floor, and I'm not finished. I don't think it's appropriate, and I wish it didn't enter into this discussion, and hopefully it won't in the future. If I get one statement, it doesn't even have to be on the record. If I get a statement from someone that we're staying out of these things and we don't agree with it, then I would be much more at ease and comfortable with this vote moving forward. But if baseball is going to double down on this and continue to become the woke enforcement agency, and they're taking public dollars. If it's a private business, fine, but they're taking public dollars all over this country. They need to stay out of it, stay neutral, and if they're not going to, they're going to end up losing out way more than their third field in Bradenton. Not that I even have the power necessarily to do that, but at least for my vote, I'm not comfortable with it at this point. It'll end up going, assuming it passes this board, which who knows, but it'll go before the county commission, and I'm hoping for some assurances between now and then that people are going to be able to speak their mind. And if they come out with a social conservative viewpoint, that they're not stifled or punished or forced to go on TV to backtrack so they can save their salary for their family. It's just wrong. I don't like it. So that's all I have to say before we move forward with the vote. Mr. Childs.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I don't believe this is about national politics. I believe this is about local community, and I move approval of recommending spending of $1.6 million in change for 3 years on this most worthy project.
Anyone else? Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it should be about politics either. I don't want it to be about politics. I had already seen this vote coming a couple months out and was already hoping to not end up in this position. And recent headlines have made me more and more uncomfortable. I had already decided not to mention any of the things from the past. National politics, unfortunately, we live in a government where the federal government has a lot of power. And so it does touch some of the things that we do. And when I went to my, voters in 2020, I was very forthright and said I would be a voice on national issues because I see the effect of them on people every day. And sad, but I don't necessarily want that or like that, but it's the way it is. So I believe, and it's okay for us to disagree, obviously. That's why we're all on a board and not just one person making all the decisions.
Mr. Chair, before you ask for a second, I just want to make sure from my side the record is straight. The Pittsburgh Pirates did not ask for a third field. The city, working with us, wanted a third field. And the monies that go from Manatee County government, if this is approved through the process, would go between Manatee County and the city of Bradenton. Major League Baseball, Pittsburgh Pirates, the only benefit they'll have with that third field is the extra 2 weeks of spring training, moving their major league team from Pirate City to the Lecom area corridor. But this is something that we wanted to enhance that corridor, and you do it with a third field. 2 just doesn't get you there when you're filling out RFPs. Just to make sure that's just to clarify that.
Who own at the end of the day? Do the Pittsburgh Pirates, will they own it though?
No, sir. The assets, Pirate City's owned by the city of Bradenton. Currently, Lecom and that second field, it's all owned by the city of Bradenton. The Pittsburgh Pirates oversee the day-to-day operations of those complexes.
So if they went full, I guess they could have different motivations. But let's say they go full woke and they just, for whatever reason, because we've seen businesses shoot themselves in the foot and turn away profits so they can score ideological points. If they were to do that, it's a Bradenton asset.
Yes, Pirate City and Lecom and its amenities is all city of Bradenton assets.
So today, sitting for you, I could make a vote for Bradenton and not have to make a vote for Major League Baseball. Is that correct?
From what I'm asking the TDC, yes, sir, that's accurate.
Well, I believe in Bradenton and the people of Bradenton and the city of Bradenton and the leadership there. I am glad that you mentioned that, sir. I'm willing to make a vote for Bradenton. I would love to be in a spot where I'm willing to make a vote for baseball as well. I'd be excited about that. But just right now, I'm not. But hopefully that could change in the future as well. But regardless, as we move forward, I'm going to look at it, for me, it's voting for Bradenton. And I hope somebody gets the message somewhere to stop targeting a third, 25% at least, a third, 40%, 50, 60% of your citizens, and their reasonable viewpoints on life and their desire to be left alone, to be able to go places without having things in front of their children that they didn't ask or want to be there. I just think that's real reasonable. Adults can live their lives, and I'm not, speaking on that. But we should be able to go around with our families without woke corporations throwing stuff in our faces. But I love that. A vote for Bradenton sounds great to me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have an official motion from Mr. Childs yet?
Mr. Childs did make a motion, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to.
Motion to approve.
Politics of this world is getting a little out of hand, and I know what you're saying, but this is for Bradenton, and Bradenton, I looked at this, they do own all of the property. So we're not giving this to the pirates. They're not walking out the door with it. They don't want to be here anymore. They can break their lease or do what people do, but the truth is, this is the city of Bradenton's property, and I'd like to second Mr. Child's motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion from the board? Nope. All right, with that, we'll take the vote.
Norma, do you want to recast your vote, please?
Yes, I'm for it.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, for it.
Thank you both.
All those in the room that are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Chair votes aye. Passes with a vote.
We will
Unanimous
work
decision.
with Rob Perry on a reimbursement agreement, and this could come to the board sometime in August, September, probably no earlier than that. So, Rob, I really appreciate you being here, sir. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
back to you, Mr. Chair.
All right, I lost my agenda. What do we have next? Anybody looking at
For
it?
your budget marketing plans.
Number 6, 2-year budget.
I see the 2-year budget is next on the agenda. Does everyone agree with that?
Yep.
All right. Do we have any comments or discussion on that?
If I can just give you a little overview on that, Mr. Chair. The blessing that I have is we meet every other month, so I'm able to spend a little bit of time with you one-on-one. So I know a lot of you are clued in, but at least for the sake of the public's optics. We have in our ordinance, our marketing budget is fixed, which means as the tourism tax increases, the marketing budget stays the same unless your tourism director gives good rationale and asks for an increase in marketing budget. A lot of CVBs around the state of Florida, as the tax increases, they get a percentage increase as well. I never liked that. And Ed, you mentioned Larry White, my predecessor, he never liked that. I need to rationalize why, more marketing dollars make sense. And it's pretty easy. Financial management of Manatee County has also looked at our request, and they're comfortable with that as well. Ann Watine would tell you that we target first-time visitors because they have a high return rate. And for the past 5 years, our first-time visitors to the area, out of all the visitors that we get, is between 30 and 35% first-time visitors a year. Industry standards would tell you that you should try to bring in 25% or more, and your brand is penetrating the market. So you would say, okay, so the branding is working. Kelly and Colby are doing a great job pushing that out. But here's where we're asking for a little bit more support. And we're asking for $500,000 a year per year that would start October 1. With the evolution of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, you all know, as part of getting a new nonstop flight established, we give the subject airline marketing incentive dollars. So it's normally for 2 years to help them create awareness of the new nonstop, whether it be Minneapolis, St. Paul, any other mainly Midwest area. What do you do after those 2 years of incentives expire? You don't want to procure new business, get it started through the airline in an immature market, and then keep your fingers crossed that people still fill those plane seats. So we're going to take the majority of that money, not all of it, and continue to create brand awareness in those immature nonstop markets until they become mature. And it's going to take a little bit of a while. I could tell you that New York is a mature market for us. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a mature market for us. You all know it, there's easy reasons for that. And that's where in those mature markets, you'll see where we put a little bit more of what we call traditional advertising to keep our brand top of mind. The other component is Kelly and Colby have lost buying power over the past several years. As inflation kicks in, guess what goes up? The cost of advertising goes up. So it's twofold. I feel very comfortable coming to you all to continue to create brand awareness in those markets that you're looking at on the screen with the hopes of building those out, adding more frequency, and building that airport that really just builds our tourism in the regional market. With that, I'm not going to go any further than that. I'm going to open it up for questions. You can see your spreadsheet. Let me just touch upon this, Mr. Chair. Going back, the breakdown, the line item by line item, I'm real candid. We don't really show our playbook. We do have a competitive set. We do all watch each other. So we just have line items like, digital marketing, social media. That is the most powerful tool that we have to target the prospective visitor that we want to target. And then it breaks down from there. Quite candidly, statutorily, is when we go to the Board of County Commissioners for a budget, we don't need to show them detail of the buys, which is a really good thing. And maybe it came down to the legislators understood way back when that destinations like ours, tourism bureaus don't need to really show the playbook because there's a competitive set out there. So I'm asking for a recommendation. I'm here to answer any questions. With your recommendation of the 2-year budget, it would go lumped in with the other 12 departments in the county, and then it just goes through the normal Board of County Commissioners budget cycle that they're statutorily obligated to approve in the month of September. And on our board packet, it would say the recommendation of this TDC as well. Okay, so with that, I'm here to ask any questions or ask for a recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Do you have any questions at this time? Go ahead, Mr.
Elliot, what about Canada? Now, Canadian market is suppressed. I guess they feel it's expensive to travel to U.S., particularly in Florida, in season months when they want to come here. Now, how are we gonna spend the money and think that we would get the reward out of it?
We're going to shift gears. Simple as that. And you're one of our veteran TDC members. What you see today probably won't look like it 6 months from now. That's the advantage that I have meeting with you one-on-one, where we'll let you know when we're shifting gears. Ontario is our wheelhouse in Canada. It doesn't weather exchange rate very well. When that loonie adjusts slightly, that market can really turn off. A lot of the Ontario plates that you see here in the wintertime are snowbirds. They're mainly staying on the mainland. So sometimes that market gets really, really ripe. So working, you got really two great marketing people in Kelly and Colby. So if something goes cold in Canada, we're going to shift that across the Atlantic more into the UK or Central Europe. If that market that Kelly oversees is going a little bit cold, then we'll shift those into domestic, or we won't spend it at all. I've always told industry that, spending money to promote a brand is like buying stocks. Where are you going to get your strongest ROI that makes sense? And a lot of that is fluidity in shifting to make sure you're getting your strongest ROI. So we'll see. Air Canada is our blessing. They have the nonstop flight. They'll start up on Halloween and run through May 1. And they're going to, just got some news, they're going to fly probably 3 days a week from Toronto Pearson to SRQ. Hope I answered your question.
Understood. Yeah.
Any other questions? Anyone like to make a recommendation?
I'd like to make a recommendation to approve this expenditure.
We have a recommendation or a move to recommend the 2-year budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Eric Carnes. All right. And the motion.
Mr. Chair, can I get the mayor to cast a vote? Mayor Braun, can you yay or nay?
Yes, aye.
Okay. All right. Norma, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, that's a yes, as in to move to recommend it?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we've got 2 yeses. All those in favor in the room, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye. It is unanimous to recommend the 2-year budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're very welcome. Thank you, sir. We have public comment is on our agenda, but I think we already made that available. Does anyone just really have something burning that they would like to say? All right. And do we have any new or old business from the TDC members? Anyone going once,
Mr.
going
Chair,
twice? Oh,
Can
yes,
I
sir.
give a really quick water taxi update? August 21st is the next TDC meeting in this room, and then we'll transition back to downtown Bradenton at the County Commission Chamber in October. But just real quick, if it's okay, the water taxis are, the boats should be finished at the end of this month. We gave each city involved, Bradenton, City of Anna Maria, City of Bradenton Beach, a revised draft interlocal agreement. I'm expecting to get some feedback from each city this week. And we have a draft operating agreement that's coming to its conclusion probably this week as well. And then we're going to get it to the Board of County Commissioners for their consideration and ratification. We're still targeting probably very late July, early August for their trial runs. Let me be fluid on that. We're pushing every day, but we want to get it right the first time. So stay tuned. Colby has marketing and promotions ready to roll, and we're excited. So just stay tuned. You're going to start seeing a little bit of coming soon leaked out to try to build that expectation, that anticipation for our community and tourists. So stay tuned. I'll probably give the Board of County Commissioners a written update before recess.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Falchon. I appreciate that. And with that, I just want to say before we adjourn, thank you so much to Anna Maria Island, all the municipalities here, and everyone here at the Center for Anna Maria. Appreciate you having us, hosting us.
Thanks, Norm. See you later.
What a beautiful drive to be here. I mean, a lot of cars on the road and golf carts, but great place to be. No wonder so many people want to be here as often as they can. So thank you so much for being here. With that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Mayor Brown.